Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Why I Love Flagler County, your local podcast spotlighting local businesses and local residents on what they love about being a part of Flagler County. So today I'm super excited to have my guest Renee with us today. Renee, thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited for being here today.
Of course. I feel like Renee is one of those people who I don't think we've ever actually had a full conversation, but I've always seen her around. Her name is always flitting around and she's always getting stuff done. So I'm super thrilled to have her on the podcast today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm
Well,
excited to be here.
yeah. Well, I'll let you kind of kick it off and tell me a little bit about your journey coming here to Palm Coast / Flagler County.
My journey here to Palm Coast. I have known about Palm Coast since the 80s. My in-laws were here on vacation, and back in 2011, we purchased a home here. And in 2018, we decided to move to Florida from New York. And love it. I'm always feeling like I'm on a vacation living here. And, my journey with that really basically is that I started my business down here, transitioning that from New York to here. And it's funny when you come into new areas and how different what the trend is and what the need is and what you do in your business. And when I worked in New York owning my business for 13 years, and I've been in administrative and management for over 25 years. And what I did in New York was I basically helped businesses with their back office. And that was like the biggest need I saw, that businesses always wait to the end of the year to do what they need to do. And then it's like, oh my gosh, we're in a rush. And when I came here to Florida, I found that there are a lot of entrepreneurs here, mom and pops businesses. And what they wanted to know was, how do I run my back office? Not that they wanted to outsource it, but how do I run it? And that is basically the transition that I did here and how I became a business freedom mentor. My business is business freedom mentoring. And I then became a keynote speaker. And it's been a wonderful journey from a transition from New York to here.
That's so awesome. And I know exactly what you're talking about when sometimes people keep pushing things off. Like we just finished tax season and I'm sure all the CPAs are like, now you're calling me about my taxes. The deadline passed like 5 days ago, right? It's like you should have been calling me 5 months ago. Like, why are we getting a call now? Like I know so many CPAs are like that. And that's just kind of the nature of things. And that's why they have someone like you, Renee, to help them start putting the systems in place sooner so it doesn't pile up in the end, right?
Right, right. And too, is that one thing when you are owning a business, you know what it is you want to do. And a lot of times what happens is that business owners take on responsibilities that's truly not in their fields. And it's always best to delegate out the areas that's not the core part of your business,
Mm.
where if it's working in your office, but you may be a landscaper, that's the core part of your business. So it's just helping businesses to understand what their role is and to understand what areas are needed in their business to be able to get to that next level.
Yeah. Well, you shared a little bit also about the beginning of your business, but I'd love for you to talk a little bit more, especially down here in Palm Coast and Flagler, how it has been running, being a business freedom mentor.
It has been it's been a wonderful experience and a journey here. As I shared, I am now working in my business to what I truly love to do, and that is giving the advice and the guidance to new businesses as well as established businesses to help them to understand why you truly wanted to do a business and what is it that you're offering and is there a need for it. And those are the three areas that are so important, because now you're going to understand who your potential clients are. And the way that you can do that is by listening to what people are saying. What are their pain points? How can you solve it? How can you give them that golden results? And working here in Florida, I enjoy it so much just due to, as I shared before, the different types of businesses that are down here. And I found that networking a lot too with different organizations, wonderful people that I have met. And I really enjoy being a speaker, which I had learned to improve my communication and bringing forth what I want to say is being part of the Voices with Tiffany Rufino, and I'm just grateful for that. So we're always learning, no matter what it is we're doing.
Yeah, there's always room and area for you to improve. And I love that you, as a coach, you have a lot of experience under your belt, but you're still humble enough to be like, yeah, well, Tiffany, I still need some help in this, especially when it comes to us communicating our passions to audiences. The other people might not have the understanding that we do when it comes to our passions, right? And that's what makes it our passions. But we also have to learn, like, oh, wow, they don't know anything about that. Let me give the proper context so they know exactly and it can benefit them and they can see where they can also have help. So I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times you have to understand the next part of the journey, which is the freedom, which we all want, right? That's why we do a business. We want to
Right.
have the freedom to be with our family, to be with, to go on vacations and so forth. And that comes in time when you're working your business. The area that I find a lot when it comes to businesses and what they want is the education part. And it has to do with understanding what they need to do. So a lot will say, sometimes people say, oh, I really want to take this course, but I may not have the money, or I need a website, but I can't afford to do it, so I'll do it myself. The one thing I do say with businesses is you can never make a second first impression. And it's
Mm.
very important to make sure that you do let others step in that are professionals to help, because I always say we buy what we want, but we never invest in what we need, right?
Mm.
You think about the great shoes, clothes, whatever. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go buy that. But when it comes to investing in our business, we always have that roadblock. And that is the most important area and where you need to invest in.
Definitely. I know sometimes, especially when you're small business owners, it's really easy for people like us to be like, well, I don't need help right now. Like, I'm doing this all by myself. The thing is, you don't
Mhm,
have to, right? The
mhm,
professionals are coming in not to undermine you, right? We're not saying you can't spend the time and invest and make a perfect website on your own, but is it that really the best use of your time, right? That's why you have, like,
mhm,
I know, plenty of people who I've just had to outsource because I'm like, I don't want to think about this. It's one of those things where I know I'm not good and I know I don't want to spend the time in trying to become good. Not that it's a knock on me. It's just it's not where my passion lies. It's not where my expertise lies. So there's no
mhm.
harm in kind of helping and working with someone, especially someone who does get you. And that's really amazing is being able to find someone who's like, you tell them, hey, I like it like this. They know exactly what you're talking about. And it's super easy for them.
Exactly, exactly. Because but we all have dreams. But the one thing that we have to remember is that dreams will only work when you do.
Right.
And that is putting forth on the ups and the downs. That's what it's all about, to do that. And you really have to believe in yourself. And a lot of times, people will say, "Oh, I'd love to do a business, but I don't have time, and this would be great." Well, a lot of it is just due to the fact it could be fear, it could be, um, not having the confidence, and that's all normal. And when you don't want that 9 to 5 job anymore, it's where you need to truly look to say, "Where do I want to be?"
Mm,
And what do I want to have? But the most important is you have to understand who you are. And I really have to stress that, because we could either be the person that's always doing something and by the end of the day we can't recharge, or we are the person that always jumps into everything and then we find out, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done this. And the productive person is the one that truly understands how many meetings to have, how many social events to go to, but most of all, understands how to say no,
yes.
because it does not fit in their schedule. And a
Right.
little, a little tidbit I will say, if you ever come across that, you don't know what to say, the best thing to say is, can I think about it? And can I get back to you by the end of the week? You didn't say
Right.
yes, but you didn't say no.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people will be surprised, especially when you transition into becoming your own boss. Now you don't have, right, other people's rules and limitations, which on one hand is perfect, but on the other hand, it's like, oh my gosh, what can I say yes to? What can I say no to? And it's really
Mhm.
that self-discovery. And you might stumble a little bit in the beginning of trying to find that. Like I know there are so many things that I'm not good at, right? And I know that, but it's only because I allowed myself a little bit to stumble and be like, okay, I don't think this is working out for me, right? Like especially like I'm forgive me for saying, like, I'm 20, I'm a Gen Z or whatever, right? Like, I like technology, right? But
I
I'm
don't
not
even
into
know what
the
I am. I don't even want to know.
it's not that, like, I bring up the age card for a reason, but it's like, I like technology, I can do, like, some basic things here and there, but someone's like, "Oh, can you, like, go inside my system and fix all of the bugs in there?" I'm like, "No, I'm sorry, like, it's not something I can do, but I can definitely try and find you some help." 'Cause, I know myself, and if I were to take that on, I don't know if I could give them at all what they're looking for, and that would make me feel worse than, just turning it down and helping them find someone else.
And that's so true. And that's why you have to understand who you are, because we believe that we have to have all this digital. And maybe you're just a paper person, and that's okay. My calendar is in my book. I'm not this digital person on the computer. So it's truly understanding one, who you are, and having your vision and just going,
Yeah.
just keep plugging through.
Definitely, and that's why you'd have someone like Renee to help you find out who you are, because you need that kind of, like, third person or outside person to be like, "Oh, hey, Macy, I'm noticing when you do this, this is how you're doing it. Is that how you want it to come across?" And then I'd go, "Oh, no, that's not what I'm trying to do. Okay, well, let's find a shift so that it can come across the most effective way." So I'm really glad that you brought up and mentioned all those really key points. Um
And
mhm.
and that's why I need my business freedom mentoring, because those are the 3 steps I just shared with you.
There you go. Well, that's awesome. So I'll definitely make sure I have all of Renee's contact information in the description. Definitely check out and get in touch. Just see if some of the things that she's mentioning are working for you. It doesn't hurt to always ask questions and just see what works for you. So I definitely recommend that.
Mhm.
And really quick before I wrap it up, like I mentioned, I feel like Renee is one of those people. She's just everywhere. I'm always hearing about her. Everything's going on. So I'd love to ask really quick, what would you recommend for new people in the area? Maybe places to go, events to go to, groups they can join, or, places they can go, like a little workout.
Yeah. I found out when I moved here, I didn't know anyone. And the best thing that you could do is actively participate in discussions that maybe you see on Facebook or on social media that happens to relate to you. And also, attending events and meetings. But you know what? They don't even have to be with business. They could be social, going to social events. I know down here in Flagler, they have the first Friday of each month. No cost. You just don't know who you meet. We live in a small world. And most of the area too, I will say, is volunteering. Volunteer where you can help. I mean, there's so many nonprofit organizations here, like Christmas Come True. They're always needing volunteers to help families at the holiday times. And support local businesses, shop local and meet people. Because I will tell you, I have gone into a lot of places, and when they see my phone number, the first three, they're like, "Oh, what part of New York are you from?" And I'm like, "Oh, you're from New York?" It's just such a small world. So I would just say, go out and learn about the community and enjoy the beaches. That's the best.
Yes. Oh, definitely. And it's so fun that you mentioned the area codes. It's so often like if I get someone's phone number, I'm like, oh, help me type it in. My fingers automatically go to 386. But most people are not 386, right? Most people are like, oh, actually, I'm still my old area code. I'm like, me too. Like, I'm still my Michigan area code, and I'll
Yeah.
probably not change it
Mhm.
at least for a really long time. But
Yeah.
it's so funny. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm assuming it's probably 386. I'm like, no, I've been here 10
Yeah.
years, but I haven't changed my number. And I'm like, no worries, sounds good. So I'm glad you brought that up. Well,
It is so true. It is so, so true. But there's a lot to do here in
definitely.
Flagler. You just need to go out and meet people,
Of
and be
course.
comfortable with that.
Definitely. Well, Renee, thank you so much for coming on and spending a few minutes with me, sharing a little bit about your journey, and then also, of course,
Thank you.
all the things that you're doing to help businesses out. I really appreciate it.
I thank you, and thank you so much. It was a pleasure speaking with you,
Of
and I'm so glad we had the opportunity to
yes,
do this.
of course. And everyone listening, thank you so much. I really appreciate you as well, and I will see you next time. Bye.